Welcome back, Richard. It's good to see you this morning.
Good morning. Good day. Good morning. Good week. Good
Yes,
weekend. Yeah.
absolutely. And once again, happy Mental Health Awareness Month. We
Right.
are spending this month talking about mental health, mental wellness, and we're going to continue that again today. The first couple of weeks we've talked about just some regular routines that people can do to make their lives a little bit more mentally healthy, and we're going to continue that conversation today.
That's right. This time of the year can be a challenge. Interesting that they chose May. I guess May and December, maybe May, December, and January would be the graduations, the ending of another school year, all the end of school year activities and graduations and all the things that many families are going through at this time. And it puts strains on your life.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's a good time to sit back, step back, and take another look at mental health. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So
That's right. And when you think about mental health, there's sort of three things that you think about, right? You think about being able to manage and carry out your everyday activities.
that's right.
You think about managing relationships, and you think about managing stress, because we all
Yeah,
experience stress. And again, we've talked about stress before. Stress is we tend to think about it in somewhat negative ways, but stress is sort of an everyday life thing. I mean, there's positive stress and there's negative stress, but having healthy mental wellness is all about managing that stress.
exactly. Right. Those are the three areas: your day-to-day activities, your relationships, and being able to manage your stress. That really is foundational to good mental health.
Right.
And as it turns out, the National Institutes of Health, NIH, has developed what they call a mental wellness toolkit.
Mhm.
Probably a good thing to pack if you're leaving,
Yeah.
because it contains very specific, detailed suggestions for improving and maintaining your mental health. And these include there's six that they list. And we don't want to spend too much time on each one because you're going to get the idea. We have actually three articles that we found
Mhm.
that address how to improve and maintain mental health. And
Mhm.
so this is the first of the three.
Yeah.
And there's six in this. One is build resilience.
Yeah.
Resilience is the ability to bounce back from disappointment.
Right.
And we all experience disappointment at some point and at some level. But resilience is the ability to keep going in the face of disappointment. How do you collect the pieces and start to put Humpty Dumpty back together again and
Right.
start over again? Okay.
Absolutely. And it is something that we've talked about that begins in childhood. You want your kids to experience some disappointment sometimes so that they can build that ability to bounce back, that resilience that we need to recover from disappointment or heartache or different challenges that we have. So
Right.
so it's great that building resilience is the first on their list in this toolkit.
Right. It's essential that children experience disappointment or loss or failure or something when they're young and when they have support, parental support, family support to manage those disappointments. You have to become resilient to overcome your disappointments. The
Absolutely.
second, of course, is to reduce your stress.
Yeah.
You do this by avoiding chronic stressors. And two of the ways that we talk about reducing it is through things like meditation or exercise or yoga, anything that helps you get rid of some of that stress. You're going to encounter stress. That doesn't matter who you are. You're going to encounter some type of stress. You have to learn how to rid your body of those stressors.
Absolutely. And the third is just getting quality sleep. And again, we talked about this in previous podcasts.
Yeah.
Just the importance of good quality sleep. It helps. Not only does it help manage chronic stress, getting good night's sleep helps relieve stress, but it's just good for your overall health anyways.
Right. I'd like to check I don't know how you'd ever determine it, how many people are taking sleep medications. We're a nation of poor sleepers. We do not sleep well in this country. Kids don't, adults don't, the elderly don't. No age group sleeps as much as we should. We're notoriously bad sleepers, and we really should address that.
Yeah. Well, not only are we bad sleepers, but we sort of, um, wear the badge. We're very happy, and we somewhat braggadocious about being poor sleep. I only got 3 hours sleep last night,
Right.
so
Yeah,
that's
like
a good thing.
yeah, like that's a badge of honor, no,
Yeah,
that's a problem. That's like I only had 6 drinks. No, no, that's not a good thing.
right.
Don't wear it as a badge of honor. Not getting enough sleep is a serious problem, and we need to take it seriously.
Absolutely.
And of course, coping with loss. We all experience loss. But also, the two things that I like about this is they talk about strengthening your social contacts.
Yeah.
Okay, your
Number
social.
five is strengthening social contacts.
We
Yeah.
talked about that in the past two podcasts about the importance of social interactions. You remember in the first podcast we talked about what makes people really happy. How do you define happiness? One of them is with improving your social interactions with other people, not online interactions, but face-to-face interactions.
Yeah.
Along
Absolutely.
with that is to be more mindful, be more thoughtful about the life that you really want to live,
Right.
and
Yeah.
organize yourself so that that's the life that you have. Don't let life pass you by.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, number six in their list is being mindful, and I think of all the things that of all of these things, because all of these are really important, and we encourage our patients that we work with to do all of these things. But being mindful, I think, is so underrated. I was just working with a patient yesterday about the importance of being mindful of where his mood and his symptoms are at any particular time. That sometimes just and he was able to provide some examples where over the last couple of weeks he was just working to be mindful of how his mood was doing and
Right.
what it was sort of contributing to his behaviors. And
Mhm.
just by noticing it, it helped him regain some control and to eliminate what could have been some really negative experiences. And so just being mindful of where you are, how you're thinking, how you're feeling can be extremely powerful in helping with maintaining your good mental
Yeah,
health.
what do you want your life to look like, and make those things happen. Before we leave these six, I just want to add the note that with each of these six, NIH provides specific things that you can do, specific ways that you can improve these six things. So if you're interested in taking a closer look, I'd encourage you to check this out. It's from NIH, free document,
Yeah.
and they give very, very helpful, very specific suggestions for improving each of the six.
Right, absolutely, and we'll have a link to that toolkit in the show notes. But as you mentioned, there are three articles that really captured these topics today, and the second is from the Guardian, um,
Mhm.
and the Guardian offers 12 ways to improve.
Right.
So it's one of those things like we talked about with. It made me think of the marriage. Keys to a healthy marriage that we talked about a couple of months ago
Right.
now. And one thing said there were 12 things, another was six, another was three. There's
Right.
12 ways to improve mental health.
Right. And guess what the first three are? So one, two, and three are, of course, nutrition, sleep, and exercise. Okay.
Absolutely.
No, not surprisingly. Okay. So when we tell you to redo your nutrition, your sleep, and your exercise, please, we're not the only ones advocating this. Everybody says the same thing.
Yeah.
Four and five are smoking and drinking. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop doing the things that are bad for you.
Right.
Six is social relationships. Stay connected, your social relationships. And we've discussed this over and over and over again. So the first six, the first half of this are topics that we've already covered before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And
Now,
even,
seven,
yeah, seven is interesting because it is something that that we know is important and is especially important for some people
right,
is to get a pet.
right,
And we know that we have this, well, actually over the past decade or so we had this influx of everybody wanting to have an emotional support animal. um, And so we know that having a pet improves our mental well-being. It decreases stress and it helps us, relax and cope better when we have a pet with us.
Not only that, but it gives you something else to think about. You know,
Right.
if you have a pet, you even if they're fish, you have to feed them and you have to clean the tank. Um, but a pet takes you a little bit out of yourself and gives you something else to think about and something else to focus rather than yourself. Because I think what happens to many people as we become isolated, we begin to focus and you begin to notice every ache and every pain and every emotion and every depressive state, and everything gets magnified. But if you have a pet or two, you're also thinking about them. And so, again, thinking about something else is good for you. And having something else or someone else to take care of is very good for everybody.
Absolutely. Now, number 8 is, stress relievers, just like we
Right.
talked about before, managing stress.
Mhm.
But 9 is to find a good work and personal life balance. And
Right.
again, it feels like this is something that we say sort of almost in passing, like, hey, we need to have a good work-life balance, but it's so critically important.
Right.
So we need to make sure that you're working. We have this tendency, you mentioned a minute ago, as a country we are not very good sleepers. Well, we're not very good at life balance either. We tend to work much more and engage in good good personal time, and making sure that we take vacations or we take time off, or that when we leave work, that we leave work at work, that we go home and we spend time with family and in that personal life. And so yeah, it's really important to have that good balance.
Yeah. All of us are anybody who's working today is probably working harder and more hours.
Right.
I mean, whether you're teaching or you're in healthcare, what we do, what most people are doing is fairly exhausting and stressful. And so you have to have some balance between your work life and your personal life. And you can't if you just focus on your work life, you're going to stay in a stressful environment for too many hours per day. Whether you're productive or not, you're going to be exposing yourself to a stressful environment. And we know that's bad.
Right.
And so you move to your personal life to start to relieve the stressors. So you don't want your personal life to also be stressful. I mean, some people take vacations and they have to come back to work to relax and to recover.
Right.
Well, then you're taking the wrong kind of vacation. Do the personal thing. It's like when we talk about meditation, not medication, but meditation,
Right.
you have to find what works for you. What type of meditation works for you? And it's the same with taking vacation time or downtime. What really works for you? Many people, they want to sit around and watch movies. Well, if you're a person who needs to exercise to get rid of your stress, then lying around watching movies isn't going to be your stress reliever.
Right.
So be mindful about the activities that you do that take you away from work and that really are relaxing and stress relieving.
Absolutely. And now I think we said that this, I think I said that this article has 12, but this article actually has 10
Hmm.
that lists things on their list. Because the 10th one is to seek professional help. And I
Mhm.
think that once again, you can't overstate the importance of getting support if you need support. Certainly going back to number 6 was social relationships. And lots of times we can deal with stress and we can manage things a little bit better if we are communicating and interacting with friends, and we have those social connections. But when we're really struggling with something, there is really nothing better than working with a professional who is trained and understands and can help you work through the stressors or the issues that we experience in life. And so, if some of these other things aren't helping and you're still feeling sort of mentally unwell, not necessarily that you have a mental illness or anything like that, but that you're just feeling mentally unwell or overstressed or overwhelmed, seek professional help and get the assistance that you need.
Yeah, and you have to know when you need to consult with a professional. You can talk to your friends and family members and other people, but at some point you may want to consult with a professional. If you're stuck, if you feel like you're really stuck and you can't get out of it, seek professional help. They have lots of good advice.
Absolutely. Now, the first article was from the National Institute of Health. The second was from the Guardian Life. And
Mhm.
the third is from the National Institute of Mental Health.
Right,
And this one, many of them are the same suggestions. And I guess that's sort of the point here is that
right,
no matter where you're pulling information from, the recommendations are all pretty much the same, whether
right.
it's the National Institute of Health, it's Guardian Life is like an insurance company,
Yeah,
the National Institute of Mental Health. They're all sort of saying the same thing. Now, National Institute of Mental Health adds a couple of other things that are worth noting,
right.
like finding a relaxing activity. Um, hobbies are so important, and if that hobby also includes something that's or is also relaxing to you,
Mhm.
that's like sort of a double whammy. It's like a double double benefit.
And I'll ask people, I'll say, well, what do you really like? People with anxiety or depression. And I'll say, well, what do you really like to do? What do you find really relaxed? Oh, I love to fish. When was the last time you went fishing? A long time ago. They
Right,
don't, here's the activity. You've already identified what helps you to relax, what's good for your stress, to relieve your stress, and yet you don't make time to do it. When we
right,
talk about being mindful and being careful about your life, planning things and organizing your life so that it works for you, these are the kind of things we're talking about. Is if you've already identified an activity as being relaxing, then structure your life so you build that activity into it. You're
right.
going to get stress reduction. You're just going to feel better. Okay. So identify what the relaxing activities are, but then make time in your schedule to do them.
Absolutely. And another recommendation that they add is to set goals and priorities. And once again, sometimes the stress that we feel is really a feeling of being overwhelmed because we feel like we have so many things to do and we don't really have things prioritized. Everything is sort of at the same level. And many things in our life, you should do A before you do B. And so setting up priorities, setting up goals so that you know what you need to accomplish, what you want to accomplish in any particular time or any particular day. And then
Right.
after that, so and to me, what setting goals and priorities does is it just organizes your life. Just being organized can resolve and relieve so much stress.
Right.
So you take a list of all the things that you have to do and just take a moment and prioritize things just so that you can get yourself organized.
Right. I see so many people, especially young people in their 20s and early 30s, who haven't really set any specific goals or priorities. They say, well, I want to retire when I'm 50, or I want to do this, or no, I want to travel. They have these sort of vague goals and things, but they don't structure their lives to achieve those goals. When it comes to priorities, yeah, you should think about what you want to do. Those are some of your priorities. These are the things that are important to me. I
Right,
want to spend time with family. I want to spend time at the beach. I want to spend time doing these things. But there are also things that you should do. And don't forget the shoulds. Okay. You should exercise and you should eat more carefully and you should sleep better. So put those in your priorities too, not just what you want to do, but what you should be doing to be mentally healthy.
right. Now, every year around November, near the end of November, we in celebration of Thanksgiving, we talk about being thankful and showing gratitude. Well, as we say every year, that shouldn't be something that is restricted to that week of November.
Right.
So
Mm.
again, something else on their list is showing and practicing gratitude, being just acknowledging what you have and what is going on around you so that you can be grateful and show that gratitude for what you have instead of focusing on what you don't have or what you need or what you're missing.
And that's very difficult to do in our culture
Right,
because the message is you need more.
right.
You want more and you need more. Um, how many cappuccino makers do you really need? I mean, I really struggle with this because I'm gr I'm grateful for what I have.
Right.
You know, I'm glad that I have more than one pair of shoes.
Right.
I'm glad that I can live in a house with air conditioning.
Right.
Uh, could I live in a bigger house? Yes. Could I live in a more expensive house? Yes. But I'm very grateful for the one that I have. And I think we lose sight of that
Mhm.
because the culture we live in is you need more and more and more and more and better, and you should have more of everything. That's the message that we're constantly being bombarded with. And today, you don't even have to look for things. They come flying into your computer
Right.
because of algorithms. Okay. So you don't even have to search for what you want. You're being told for what you want. People who read this ordered this. Okay. So the cornucopia is in front of you every day. But every once in a while, I would say daily, step back and be grateful for what you have. You know, there are some religions where 3 times a day you thank God or somebody for the food that you're eating. Okay, that's probably a good habit to develop. Is no, it's not caviar, but I'm grateful for the food that I do have. Okay,
Right.
and practicing gratitude, expressing gratitude is another way to make it makes you feel better that you are happy with what you have and you're not lusting for something else or
Yeah.
something more.
Absolutely. And the last one that we'll mention that is sort of in addition on the National Institute of Mental Health list is challenging your negative and unhelpful thoughts. And again, something so important to do to say think positively, and to when you have those negative thoughts, when you have those things that come to your mind that aren't really helpful, that really are just there hurting you, making you feel bad or making you feel
Right.
that stress and feeling overwhelmed, challenge those, push those away, not necessarily try to ignore them or try to distract yourself from them, because sometimes that's helpful, but
Right.
other times challenge them by saying, am I really lonely, or am I really, that bad off? Is it true that nobody likes me, while at the same time your phone is ringing and somebody's calling you to spend time with you? It's, challenge some of those negative thoughts, and face it with reality that, no, I do have people that love me, people that want to spend time with me, things that I want to do. I have things that I need in my life. And again, showing gratitude or thinking about gratitude will help with that. But you got to challenge and get rid of some of those negative and unhelpful thoughts.
Right. Um, Students come in and say, I don't want to do homework. Nobody wants to do homework. I mean, there's a
Right.
hundred other things. No, I don't want to go to work today. Of course you don't want to go to work today. But that's how most of us feel most of the time. But you can't dwell on, I don't want to, whatever it is. Think about the positives. You have a job, you get to go see people, you get to go out and do things, you make money. So focus on the positive. It's a choice. You can focus on the positive or you can focus on the negative. It's like gratitude. You can be thankful for what you have, or you can be sad and depressed for what you don't have. That's
Absolutely.
entirely up to you.
Absolutely. So we reviewed 3 articles today. For the most part, they all kind of say a very similar
Mhm.
message, and we could have included many more websites in
Right.
the conversation today. But when you kind of boil them all down, you get to just a couple of things that are really important, and that is, stop doing the things that are bad for you. You
Yeah.
know, if you want to feel better, if you want to have good mental health, stop doing those things that are not good for you.
Right. And then there's a long list, smoking and drinking, but also stop worrying, stop doing things you don't want to do. If you really don't like to go to dinner parties, then don't go to dinner parties. Okay. You do have an option.
Right.
So do what you want to do. If you want to spend more time with certain kinds of people, spend more time with certain kinds of people. But first of all, stop doing what's bad for you. Okay.
Right.
Whether it's drugs or alcohol or being with people you don't like,
Right.
stop doing what's bad for you.
Right. So if you stop doing what's bad for you, the second thing is start doing what's good for you. You know,
Right.
focus on those things that are healthy, those things that make you feel good, and focus on that, things that relieve your stress, things that make you feel more positive. Focus on those things instead of those negative things.
That's right. Exercise, meditation, relaxing activities, spending more time with people that you care about. All those things are what you should be doing and how you should be spending more of your time. Those are the things that are good for you. We know that. We know what mentally healthy activities look like, and they look like exercise and meditation and social connectedness.
Yeah, and good sleep and all those things. So the third thing that's sort of this recurring theme
Right,
is to just get yourself into a good, healthy life rhythm. You know,
right.
you know, we've talked many times before when it comes to sleep and things like that, just getting into a good rhythm so that your life is organized, your life is meaningful, your life is put together so that you know what's coming, you know what you need to do, you know what's happening. And so that predictability, that organization, that planning, all of that helps relieve stress, and it makes you feel more comfortable and less overwhelmed.
The longer I do this, the more I think about body rhythms, and I think that there's something to that. That the our bodies like rhythms. There are the day-night cycle, for example. Okay, that's a rhythm. The sleep cycles are a rhythmic pattern. Our brain waves are rhythmic, very characteristic, highly organized, rhythmic activity in your brain. And I think that our bodies and our brains like um, rhythms, that I go to sleep at about the same time, that I wake up at about the same time, they eat at about the same time, I exercise at about the same time. And I think our bodies want that predictability, that structure, those rhythms. And so many of us are just flying around, sleeping when we can, getting up when we have to, rushing here, rushing there. You're probably overextended, but think about building more rhythms into your life. And I think I think that's what your brain wants. I
Yeah,
think it wants a rhythmic, predictable, orderly life.
absolutely, absolutely. I think that's what we've talked many times before. Our brain does what it is used to, what it likes doing, and that once you get into an organized rhythm, your brain just wants to stick with that and wants to do that over and over again. And so
Right.
once you get into that system, once you get into that rhythm, then things become much easier and much smoother for you. So,
It really does. I think that's really, as I watch people and as I work with people, people who have these people who don't have an organized life seem to struggle more.
yeah,
Okay. And I think there's some connection. So think about building predictability, building a structure, building a schedule into your life.
absolutely. All right. That is it for today. We'll be back midweek with another podcast talking about mental wellness. But until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and forget to be afraid.